God, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, start out your prayers in regard to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, craft with us. The honors to the elders, sing honors to the apostles, preaching, teaching us the word of truth with sincerity as always. And without any further ado, I just want to get into this lesson here. Going into these updates on this third woe, as you see on the screen. Vladimir Putin, he says, if France goes to war against Russia, it will enter history but exit geography. So this thing is escalating. This third woe. I got this article here I'm going to read on my other phone. Ukraine, the title is from The Guardian, says Ukraine war briefing. Kim Jong-un celebrates sharing blood, life, and death with Russia. North Korea leader speaks of really meaningful year for alliance with Moscow. Zelensky accuses Russia of using Belarus apartments to attack Ukraine. Well, we know on day 1403. This was published December 26. The North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has highlighted how his country and Russia had shared blood, life, and death in the Ukraine war in the New Year's greeting to Vladimir Putin. In the message published by the state-run KCNA news agency, Kim said 2025 was a really meaningful year for the bilateral alliance that was consolidated by sharing blood, life, and death in the same trench. North Korea confirmed in April that it had deployed troops to support Russia's military campaign against Ukraine and that soldiers had been killed in combat. Yeah, so just showing you more of how these countries are in league against the U.S. Here, particularly North Korea and Vladimir Putin of Russia. This one is BBC, and from BBC News is entitled, this came out December 28th. It's entitled, Zelensky says Russia doesn't want peace ahead of meeting Trump in Florida. Ukraine President Zelensky, I can't read any more of that. I got this one as well. It says NATO ally scrambles fighter jets after Russian strikes on Ukraine, December 27. NATO member Poland scrambled fighter jets to its airspace on Saturday in response to a devastating barrage of Russian strikes in Ukraine. There you go, NATO getting involved. From NBC is titled, Putin says Russia will achieve its Ukraine aims by force if Kyiv doesn't want peace. And Taiwan's president pledges to defend island sovereignty after China's military drills. This came out from NBC January 1st. The comments by President Lai Ching-te come days after China wrapped up live fire military drills around the Beijing-claimed island. In the face of China's rising expansionist ambitions, the international community is watching to see whether the Taiwanese people have the resolve to defend themselves. Yeah, so that's the point on that. So this is all just, once again, third woe is increasing. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. God. Here I got Isaiah 32. Actually, was it 3? Was it? This is actually Isaiah 25. Jeremiah 25, actually. I'll get Isaiah 25 here, starting at 25. This is verse 28. Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahweh Bashemashah, behold, I will give this city into the hand of the Chaldeans, and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall take it. So this was back in this time. The Lord sent this king Nebuchadnezzar to go and destroy Jerusalem, which in the time was only Judah there in that region, and King Zedekiah was ruling king of Judah in that time, and he got, that place got taken down. So it's in the Lord's hand to destroy kingdoms and send them to war and bring them into war to destroy them. This is in the Lord's power, and this is 29, and this is it's gonna happen again. And the Chaldeans that fight against the city shall come and set fire on this city and burn it. And that's what the Lord's gonna do with America, Babylon, burn it. And this burning and destruction is gonna be greater than what happened to Jerusalem in around 500 something, 600 something BC, the fall of Judah, upon whose roofs they have offered incense unto Baal and poured out drink offerings unto other gods to provoke me to anger. God. Verse 36, and now therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh Bashemashah, the God of Israel, concerning the city whereof ye say it shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon by the sword and by famine and by the pestilence. And that's what the Lord is going to get ready to do with America. Now this is Jeremiah 25. The whole chapter is good. Most of it speaking on the missiles prophecy, because this is what World War III is going to lead to. This is Jeremiah 30. This is really Jeremiah 25. Starting at 29. For lo, I will begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished, ye shall not be unpunished. This is talking about America. For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, says the Lord of hosts. 30. Therefore prophesy thou against them all the words, and say unto them, the Lord shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come from the ends of the earth. Yeah, from Russia, China, they're going to come all the way here to America. And then it's going to be also missiles that's going to come all the way from over there as well. Before that, they're going to come and send their troops, their tanks, their weapons. And so this is likened unto America today. Same similar situation Jeremiah was about to witness when he was speaking these words. This was going on while the Lord was in the process of fulfilling the prophecy, which was going to be that Judah will be destroyed by Babylon, which was the superpower of that time. And America still is the superpower of this time, it's fair to say, but really it's losing its power. Really, China and Russia is really looking like the major dogs right now, because they don't got to go and rob from Venezuela and take their shit. And I'm gonna play a video that's gonna be speaking on that as well in a bit. Basically, how China's, Russia's right now, they got a beef with America for what they did there recently with Venezuela. So it says anyway in Jeremiah 25:31, and noise shall come even unto the ends of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, says the Lord. 32. Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great war whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. Verse 33. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. And this is Isaiah, the 9th chapter. This is Isaiah 9 and 5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Yeah, that's how this war is going to be fought. This third war. Not through guns or weapons. Oh, it is going to be fought with guns and weapons. But this is really talking about when Yahushua returns, which he's coming soon. The way prophecy is moving and the way we see things happen, Yahushua is going to come soon. He might come this year. The Yahushua is Yahushua is the boogeyman to America. Yahushua is the closing chapter to America right now. And that's all good news for us, man, because us as Israelites, we've been oppressed. We need mercy. We need judgment. We need a king to execute righteous judgment on our enemies, and it's about that time. So us, if we're in our right minds as the nation of Israel, we're actually going to be looking forward to the collapse and this third woe coming soon here to America. We've had many dreams and visions of people sharing about Russian troops, Russian planes, Russian jets flying by in the sky. I personally had a couple of dreams of China shooting missiles in the dream. The missiles look like arrows, like in the movie 300, the arrows of the Medes and Persians that block the sun. In the dream, those missiles China shot looked like those arrows, but those were nuclear arrows, not ancient arrows that the Medes and Persians had in the movie 300. And I had another dream of Russia shooting a missile, and in the dream I perceived Russia to shot the first nuclear missile. So I still believe that's what's gonna happen. Russia's gonna shoot. So I did believe that was given to me from the Spirit, and it was the Spirit telling me that Russia will shoot the first missile when this third war kicks off. So really, China isn't the threat. The Pentagon, Esau, my nigga, Russia is the threat. Or China's already stated there that they're not going to shoot the first missile. And I believe their words on that. I hold them respectable on those words and that. But yeah, continuing on though. I forgot I had this Isaiah 9 and 5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. This is the war that Yahweh, in the name Yahushua, is going to bring. Not in the not with ancient swords and ancient shields and arrows and weapons, the old style way of fighting, like the Romans. This war that when Yahweh Shai comes back is this one's going to start with nuclear fire, a show of nuclear flames and heavy ass fire that burns elements. This is what that's going into. 6 proves it, verse right after. For unto us a child is born, Yahweh Shai, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, That's the government of Israel. It's going to be on his. It's going to fall on his shoulder. And his name shall be one called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashai of hosts will perform this. The Lord has sent a word into Jacob, and they have lightened upon Israel. That word is this message that Brother has been speaking to the tribes to wake up, identifying all you tribes, who each tribe is, and for a certain period of time. And it's here to stay, basically, since the word has been revealed. Starting with Abba Bibbins, it hasn't left. It's here to stay, and you can actually say it's going to be here forever now, because we're not going to fall away again. This is the time when we continue to speak the message, the truth. We are the Israelites. The Esau's the enemy. This destruction's coming, and it's here to stay. This message is here to stay until the prophecies are fulfilled. So it's fair to say it's never gonna go away again and disappear, like how we fell away and had to wake up back to it again. And we are awake now, and we're gonna stay awake now. So that's mind blowing to me when you think about it deeper like that. Let's see. It says in 9. Okay, so that's the point there. Now I got the clips I want to play. Show y'all here. Yeah, so that's Vladimir Putin there. If France goes to war against Russia, France is a part of NATO, and I think Tahar posted the recent video of something about Greenland and Trump wanting to take Greenland, and now Greenland is next, apparently. And so I think it was either France or Germany who said it. It wasn't all of NATO, but it was one of the NATO nations. Don't quote me on that. But one of the NATO nations definitely came out and said a statement about Greenland. And Trump wanted to take Greenland next. If Trump were to take Greenland, it would be the end of NATO. So this is that's all fulfillment of Revelation 17 and 16, where the 10 horns betray the whore. So all of this is falling in line with prophecy, Revelation 17:16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest, which when you go into it earlier in the chapter. Verse 12, and the 10 horns, this is what in the ancient Roman Empire was the 10 common markets. These were barbarian tribes, Germanic tribes, other tribes, they call it barbarians. That's where you get famous revolutionaries of the time, like Arminius and Spartacus and Hannibal, I guess you could say, that fought against Rome. Yeah, these are 10. It's basically 10 common markets that Rome conquered and took it, and then today they still go back to 10. It's just they split up and called them other names, but it's still originally 10. Italy, Greece, Luxembourg, Denmark, Germania Major, Germania Minor. So on and so forth. Yeah, but it says in verse 10, these 10 horses that saw are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but have received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. That 1 hour is going into 50 years. You can do the math. 1,000 years to us would be 1 day, just 1 day to the Lord. When you do the math, 50 years is just 1 hour. So that started back in 1950, and we're already 20 years or 26 years past 1950 when NATO started, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So it all fits prophecy. That was after World War II, I think. 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, he shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So now you're seeing NATO. They're getting pissed off of America and the way they doing things, which makes sense because Esau it shall be despised. It's Revelation 11 and 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead. Thy wrath, what's that wrath going into? Psalm 75 and 8, this is going into that wrath. For in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red and fully mixed, and he poureth out the same. But as for the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. Come. Because it's going into America. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted. Zephaniah 3 and 1. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. This is going into America. When you look at its history, is Russia known for an oppressive slavery history upon the nation of Israel? Is China known for its oppression upon the Negroes, the children of Israel, who are the lost tribes of Israel? That's been spoken to, woken back up now again. Are they known for that? No, it's going into America. Is America known for that? An oppressive history? An oppressive foundation of its founding nation of history, where it enslaved and oppressed a certain group of people and made another one higher than them. This is going into America then. Oh, Zephaniah 3 and 1. All terror as filthy and polluted to you, oppressed the city. She obeyed not the voice, she received not correction, she trusted not in the Lord. Yahweh Shemashai, she drew not near to her God. This is Zephaniah 2. 15. This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly. It's going into America. Who's what nation? What empire? All right, China. You got China, Russia, India. You got options here. What nation here is known for being the most oppressive and sick and promiscuous? Is promiscuity, pushing slavery, pushing careless, forget about it type of mindset. Okay. And if you don't say or think it's America, well then you're fucking stupid. You're just fucking retarded, bro. Just get the fuck out of here. It's going into America, bro. It's just common sense. America needs to be judged. It has to get judged, and you can't just do what it did to the nation of Israel and not pay for it. China doesn't have that history. Iran doesn't have the history, bro. India doesn't have that history, bro. No European nation has a history like America has this history, bro. Where it oppressed and took this land from the American Indians, bro. And they have this thing where they want you to forget about it now. But the reason World War III is gonna come is because of these fucking things. That's what you stupid, simple motherfuckers need to understand, man. That sinner I am, and there is none beside me. How has she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Proving it's America. A place for beasts to lie down in. I don't see Iran becoming a place that's going to be desolated soon. I don't see China becoming a place that's going to be desolated soon. I don't see Russia becoming the place that's going to be desolated soon. I see America becoming the main place for this destruction. It's mentioned as the lake of fire in the Revelation. Well, it's the only weapon that's known to cause fire at a grand scale never seen before. It's called a nuclear missile, my nigga. So that's gonna be U.S. Yo, USA. And your President Trump is helping to get a stated course to make sure that happens. And there is none beside me. That said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. Just like a fat white whore who runs up to you in the club. You're in the club. She runs to you and says, I want attention. I want attention. It's all about me. It's always a fat white whore that says those things. And that's America for you. Stanky, slobby, whore. Just wants attention from you. Anyway, it says and there is none beside me. How she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passes by her shall hiss and wag his hand. And that's what they're doing right now to America. That's what it's looking right now already for America. So these things are coming to pass. They're going to take place. So coming back to Revelation 11:18, and the nations were angry, and that wrath is come, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets. And it's no coincidence that we know that we are linking the truth with real life events that are happening. One of those truths is that the chariots, what they call UFOs, we call them chariots, they call them UFOs, are the chariots. And it's no coincidence that the angels ride on those. That's the truth. You don't have to believe it. You can laugh about it, but that's you'll see before you die. These words we're speaking are facts. If you're going to be alive still for the time being, and even if you die, you're going to go in the spirit world and know we are saying the facts. You had family members that died and are in the spirit world. I bet you they would be looking down to tell you is that we are speaking the facts. Yeah, thank you. So anyway, going back to the subject, it's no coincidence that once again those chariots, the main sightings, when you look into a map, found this out the other day from my brothers that shared this information. The main hot spots for the sightings of these UFOs are mainly here in America. Prominently are here in America. And most of the elect, we believe through the Spirit, that's going to be saved are here in America. So these are the prophets. And that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, which are mainly here in America, no coincidence, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, Yahweh, Yahushua is a true name, to you simple ass, feminine mass, false camps, small and great, and so to destroy them which destroyed the earth. 19. And the temple of God was open in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there was lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. God. Yeah, those lightnings, earthquakes, thunderings can be a metaphor for the missiles. The sound and the destruction that's going to be by the effect of the nuclear missiles, hypersonic missiles, hydrogen bombs, all that. So let's play the clip I wanted to share with y'all. The first one is from Dabu, and then this other one is from the Brothers Eras of England Nation. Just going right in along with Obadiah. These nations are hating the whore right now. So here it is.
What's up, guys? D7 back at you. And here we are. It's begun, and Maduro is already caught or gave himself up. But we've got warning signs all over the place that this isn't over, because Trump is saying that we're going to control Venezuela. We're going to seize everything, and we're going to manage it until he sees fit, because they don't want someone else to swoop it in there and then them having to deal with another Maduro type of situation. You've got the philosopher out of Russia, Alexander Dugin, warning that we're entering the real World War III right now. That this is what's going down. And the countries that are in Latin America, they got a choice to make. Either they're going to side with Trump in this, or there's going to be military action. A lot of things just went down in the midst of the past 24 hours in terms of the bombings. They quickly got Maduro, but there was a lot of different places struck on the ground. Now, there could be blowback from this, from a lot of the people that were working with Maduro. There could be anything go down, from Venezuela to America. Trump has basically fired a shot across the bow, and he said, yo, the president of Colombia, he better watch his ass. That was his exact words, that he better watch his ass. And he pointed at Mexico and said that Mexico, something has to be done with Mexico. Oh, and let's not forget, him and Rubio just zeroed in on Cuba. And we're basically like, yeah, if I'm the government in Cuba, I'd be concerned right now. This goes back to the whole technate thing, the vision of Elon Musk's grandfather. It's basically just like the North American Union, the same setup. They want to control everything from Venezuela all the way up through Mexico into America, Canada. That's why they keep calling it the 51st state, and into Greenland, which he just told you again. That matches perfect that agenda. And that's exactly what they seem to be going for. It's not that any of these countries are going to be giving up their sovereignty, but they're going to be falling under an umbrella where they accept terms of economic and military relationships with the United States. They're either on one side or the other. Now, Russia and China not liking this, although Trump has come out and said that oil will keep flowing to his good friend Xi Jinping because they have a good relationship. Russia, on the other hand, is warning about all this, condemning the attacks. It's always something, isn't it? So, here on the world stage, it definitely is obvious the United States is clamping down on the Western Hemisphere. Like everything, from Venezuela through the Panama Canal, all the way up to Greenland. This is not going to go away, and I do expect some blowback of some sort here at some point. Join me for the live streams where I have time to talk about this in greater detail. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on WW3. Much love, y'all.
In this video,
powers dance around each other for decades, testing limits while avoiding direct. Beijing just drew a red line, and they're dead serious about enforcing it. I'm Ray McGovern, 27 years inside the CIA. I've watched superpowers dance around each other for decades, testing limits while avoiding direct confrontation. But what's happening with China's ultimatum over Venezuela represents something I've never seen before. A nuclear power openly challenging American military action with demands that could trigger World War III. This isn't diplomatic protest. This is the moment when regional crisis becomes global confrontation between superpowers with incompatible strategic objectives and nuclear arsenals pointed at each other. The power struggle starts now, and there's no going back. Let me explain how Venezuela became the flashpoint for the next world war. When Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi It delivered Beijing's ultimatum demanding immediate release of President Maduro and withdrawal of American forces from Venezuelan territory. He wasn't engaging in routine diplomatic theater. His language was precise, his deadline was specific, and his threats were backed by military capabilities that could devastate American interests worldwide. The forced capture of a democratically elected leader represents an unacceptable violation of international law that China will not tolerate, Wang declared in an emergency press conference that bypassed normal diplomatic channels. American military forces must withdraw from Venezuelan territory within 72 hours or face consequences that extend far beyond the Western Hemisphere. During my intelligence career, I learned to distinguish between diplomatic posturing and genuine threats. Wang's ultimatum contains specific language that signals Chinese willingness to escalate beyond economic retaliation toward military confrontation if American forces remain in Venezuela. The 72-hour deadline is deliberately short to prevent American consolidation of military gains while demonstrating Chinese determination to challenge American unilateral military action regardless of escalation risks. Chinese demands include not just Maduro's release but complete American withdrawal from Venezuelan territory, termination of sanctions against Venezuelan government, and restoration of Venezuelan sovereignty over its own natural resources and international relationships. These demands are non-negotiable because they address core Chinese strategic interests in maintaining alternative power centers that resist American hegemonic dominance while protecting Chinese investments that represent future economic security.
China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. China will never allow the United States to launch a war against China, conventional or nuclear, without suffering devastating consequences. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, we call it 61, because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope Washington has learned the lesson. If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious.
Turning now to a health alert.
Alright, come. And I got this article here. Map show, this came out December 31st. Map shows NATO nation turning border with Russia ally into a minefield. NATO member Lithuania has started preparing bridges along its border with Belarus to be fitted with explosives under extensive plans to lay defenses on the alliance's eastern flank with Russia and its key ally. Bridges and roads close to Belarusian territory were selected based on the location of natural obstacles and their strategic importance, the Lithuanian military told the country's broadcaster. Bridges were kitted with engineering structures for attaching explosive material, the armed forces added. So they're preparing for war. Nations are preparing for war. This was the video. Denmark says NATO will end if Trump attacks Greenland. Yeah, this was the video I was referencing. So that was Denmark. Got this article. I'm reading it from my other phone. It says 5 takeaways from China's military drills around Taiwan. Beijing, and this was published December 31st from the Wall Street Journal, WSJ.com. Beijing encircled the island this week and warned outsiders to stay away. Let's go into the other article as well. China's steadily expanded military forces conducted large-scale drills around Taiwan this week. Yes, so things is escalating.
Ready to mine Bitcoin the smart way?
And this is from Sky News. They say Denmark and Greenland request meeting with Marco Rubio and Trump threat.
Of State Marco Rubio. Greenland's leadership is tense following the attack on Venezuela and comments by President Trump that they need Greenland for national security. Today, the White House releasing a statement saying that the US president was considering the use of his military alongside a range of options, including acquiring the territory through a purchase arrangement. They reiterated that the president claims he needs to have it. European leaders have penned a letter condemning the president's stance, insisting geopolitical rules must be followed. Dominic Waghorn is on the ground in Greenland and has more on how global leaders are reacting.
They think they've seen this before, but I think there is a greater sense of unease and fear. Their politicians, both here but also in Copenhagen, are openly really worried about this and condemning Donald Trump. The Prime Minister here said enough is enough, stop your fantasies of annexation. And Mette Frederiksen, the Danish Prime Minister, said that she is taking Donald Trump seriously, taking him at his word, and warning that if he does try and take Greenland, it will be the end of the NATO alliance. And she was backed up today by any number of European leaders signing up to this joint statement. They have bent over backwards not to offend Donald Trump as much as they have tried for the last year or so, because they don't want to offend him over Ukraine, but they felt they had to draw a line today, producing this joint statement, which is effectively warning an ally not to attack another ally. A completely extraordinary state of affairs and a new low in transatlantic relations. None of that has deterred Donald Trump, who has carried on regardless. He's met with officials today and is pressing on with plans to try and take over Greenland and not ruling out military action. So we're in uncharted territory. And I think the big fear for Greenlanders is that they know that he knows he doesn't need to take Greenland for national security reasons. He's got a base here, and under a treaty in the 50s, he can build as many bases as he wants. He doesn't need to take it over to take minerals from here. He can send in companies to extract minerals as much as he wants as well. Their fear is that he's doing this purely for sort of imperialist reasons. He wants to be the first president for decades to expand the borders of America, and I think they fear that he feels emboldened. He's got his pecker up after what he's done in Venezuela, and he wants to take the next move, and they fear.
Trump has his dick up, basically, pecker up. It's funny as hell. And so this is going, scripture, the first scripture came to my mind real quick was Revelation 12 and 12. Or it says here, reading this from my other phone, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, woe to inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows he has a short time. And the way Trump is moving so damn fast with all these major moves, it just reminded me of that, how the devil is, because Trump is a Edomite, it's coming down with great wrath. He's moving super speed on how to do on these moves he's making out here. He's acting quick. He ain't holding back, and that's basically how it's gonna be feeling this year. Things, the prophecies, ultimately the Lord has his hand on everything that's gonna be going down here. The Lord is the one in charge. He's always been, and he's making these things, major events happening. Let's get this some articles I had on here. From BBC, it says UK and France to send troops to Ukraine if peace deal agreed. Yeah, and there ain't gonna be no peace deal. And this fits right in line with Isaiah 19. The Lord shall give them into the hand of a cruel ruler. That cruel ruler is Trump. Venezuela declared a state of national emergency. Army prepared to repel foreign aggression. It says here, the government of Venezuela has declared a state of emergency that applies to the entire territory of the country. This decision was made after a large-scale U.S. attack on Caracas and other regions, which led to the capture of President Maduro. Defense Minister Vladimir Pedrino Lopez issued a statement on behalf of the Army confirming full support for the government decree. He emphasized that the Army remains united and cohesive in the face of external aggression. Come on. And this is going into Matthew. This reminded me of Matthew 24. Verse 16, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. So this is Republic of China Army re-equipping reserve ground units with combat vehicles, drones, and artillery. This says Director of the Republic of China's Ministry of National Defense Strategic Planning Department, Lieutenant General Huang Wenqi, has confirmed plans to re-equip Republic of China's Army Reserve units with armored vehicles, self-propelled artillery, and unmanned aircraft as part of broader efforts to bolster the capabilities of reserve forces. He added that procurement targets will be adjusted as needed based on changes in the security situation in the Taiwan Strait. The nations are preparing for war. They're getting their armies up, equipped with more weapons, military equipment, their units, vehicles, drones, and other various artilleries, weapons. Now this one, I think I shared this one last time. This came out January 5th. North Korea says latest missile tests involve hypersonic weapon systems. This is North Korea. North Korea reported on the drill a day after its neighbors said they detected multiple ballistic missile launches and accused the North of carrying out provocations. That's North Korea too, testing their hypersonic weapons. Their ballistic missiles and hypersonic weapons. North Korea said Monday the leader Kim Jong-un observed test flights of hypersonic missiles and underscored the need to bolster the country's nuclear war deterrent as the country dials up weapons displays ahead of its major political conference. The test came just hours before South Korean president departed for China for a summit with President Xi Jinping. That's North Korea shooting their hypersonic missiles, testing hypersonic weapons. China re-equipping their drones, artillery, and vehicles. This one is entitled China's stealth fighter jet approached key Taiwanese airbase without detection. Reports. It says new footage has been released that seems to show a Chinese stealth fighter flying close to a Taiwanese airbase during a recent military exercise. So nations are preparing for war. This one, it says, latest batch of Russian T-90M tanks integrates enhanced active protection systems with new anti-drone mode. The latest production batch of T-90M main battle tanks delivered to the Russian army is integrating a new variant of the Arena M active protection system, which Defense Ministry sources have confirmed has an anti-drone mode to protect the vehicles against attacks by single-use unmanned aircraft and loitering munitions. Russia upgrading their tanks. North Korea launches ballistic missiles towards sea before South Korean leaders visit to China, same thing the other article said. There's Kim Jong-un. And this one from the nationalinterest.org says the article is entitled Why Europe is Buying WW3 Missile Defense Systems from Israel. January 3rd, 2026. European NATO members are preparing to defend their airspaces after a string of drone incursions over the past fall. Germany continues to take the calls for European rearmament seriously in what is being dubbed as the single largest Israeli defense export ever. Germany has expanded its WW3 air defense system purchases with Israel earlier this month. God. Berlin has expanded its purchase or order to around 3.1 billion from the initial purchase value, bringing the whole deal's value up to more than 6.7 billion. So those are all I had there. A lot is going on with these nations. You got more here from about the Greenland thing. January, this one came out recent. From NPR.org says European leaders push back on Trump's comments about a U.S. takeover of Greenland. Some European leaders pushed back Tuesday on U.S. President's comments about seeking an American takeover of Greenland. The leaders issued a statement reaffirming the strategic mineral-rich Arctic island belongs to its people. The leaders of France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and United Kingdom joined Danish Prime Minister in defending Greenland's sovereignty in the wake of Trump's comments about Greenland, which is a self-governing territory in the Kingdom of Denmark and thus part of the NATO military alliance. Greenland belongs to its people, the statement said. It is for Denmark and Greenland and them only to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. Hey man, so once again, NATO. NATO is in the news. Expect them to be more on the news this year. China is building out another artificial island. China is still preparing to take Taiwan. Once again, because they speculate by 2027 they will take Taiwan. Since 2013, China has carried out land reclamation of an unprecedented scale, building out 20 outposts in the parcels and 7 in the Spratlys to the south. Let's see, is Israel to supply. This is from military. Oh, yeah. Just waiting for this thing to load. She can't, no, whatever. Alright, let's see this one here. So that one's titled Israel to supply additional active protection systems for CB-90 IFBs for $150 million. I mean, with that, that's the point. Lithuania approves 100 CB-90 MKIB infantry fighting vehicles for NATO force modernization. More NATO preparing. NATO nations buying tanks, preparing for war. Scripting more troops, ground forces, artillery, and drones. Upgrading their weapons. Russia's upgrading their tanks. China's preparing more preparations with artificial islands to take Taiwan, because eventually they're gonna take it. I believe that. Not too long ago, Benjamin Not a Jew mentioned proposed a new attack on Iran. Kim Jong-un saw the testing of the hypersonic and ballistic missiles. It says here, North Korea expands production of Bullseye 4 fire and forget anti-tank missiles. Let's see if this loads. After extensive combat testing in Ukraine. Yeah, so you get the point. And then this one from NPR. Pentagon will begin review of effectiveness of women in ground combat positions. To ensure what it calls the military effectiveness of having several thousand female soldiers and Marines and infantry, armor, and artillery, according to a memo obtained by NPR. So the U.S. is also preparing for war. And first clear look at China's new intercontinental range stealth bomber. And with that, that's really the point. Because you gotta think about it too. Some of those weapons they're still gonna have to be used to fight against Yahweh Shai. So that's why it said once again in Isaiah 9. Verse 5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Jeremiah 32, 33, and 25 and 33. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Going back to Isaiah 75 and 8, AI here says, the phrase in the hand of the Lord is a cup of wrath comes from Psalm 75 and 8, describing a metaphorical cup of divine judgment filled with foaming spiced wine that God pours out for the wicked to drink of the dregs, symbolizing their complete punishment and ruin, to concept echoed in other prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah, relating to Yahweh Shai's prayer in Jessamine, other aspects of Psalm 75 and 8, which we read earlier. Biblical context, prophetic use. Prophets like Jeremiah and Ezekiel use similar imagery where nations are forced to drink the cup of God's anger for their unfaithfulness. Yep, for what they did to the nation of Israel. That's in another scripture. Yeah, and when you go into Ezekiel, gives you a list of these nations. The Lord's going on one by one on these nations, giving them their judgments. When you go into Psalm 83, it's basically in the same thing. It's giving you the list of the nations that done oppressed Israel. And like Ezekiel 25 is going into the Ammonites. Then it speaks on Moab. Verse 8, thus says the Lord God, because of that Moab and Seir is Esau, do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto all the heathen. Therefore, behold, see, they talk shit about the nation of Israel, oppressive. That's the Lord's response. Therefore, behold, I will open the side of Moab from his cities which are on his frontiers, the glory of the country. Verse 10 is speaking about the Ammonites. When you go into 12, it says about Edom, because Edom's greatly offended. Ezekiel 25 and 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do to Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, says Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Mentions Tyrus in the next chapter. You go to the next chapter, it's mentioned in Tyrus. You go to Ezekiel 38, it's mentioned in Magog, Russia. You go into Zephaniah 3, verse 8, it's going, the Lord says, for my determination is to gather the nations to basically burn the ash with fire, to pour upon them by the nation. So if you're not of the nation of Israel, basically, the Lord's going to destroy you. If you're not of the elect of the nation of Israel, the Lord's going to destroy you. from Business Insider, this article says no single piece of tech is going to defeat all drone threats. New U.S. counter drone force commander says there is no single answer to defeating the threat of small drones, a counter drone task force commander said. A layered network of systems is needed. The task force is making it easier and faster for military services and other agencies to use and share counter drone tech. The U.S. military is racing to develop better defenses against drones, but there is no silver bullet, no wonder weapon that will single-handedly defeat everything. The commander of the Pentagon's new counter-drone force said. All right, so they're making new they're making new forces from the Pentagon to find out how to defeat enemies' weapons. Because in order to prepare for war, you gotta know weapons and systems and then how to defeat them. And once again, fitting right in line with WW3 9-10. And Ezekiel, how many nations? Judged by Ezekiel. So I put in Google, in Ezekiel, how many nations are being judged by Ezekiel in the book Ezekiel? In Ezekiel chapter 25 to 32. Yeah, you can go read I read those. It's good. It's a good read, showing you that the Lord's speaking against these nations. The Lord speaking against these nations. Every nation that's mentioned in the scriptures is the Lord's ends up pronouncing judgment on them. You got Babylon in Revelation. Who's got to know who? So now you got to know who Babylon is, and you can go read them chapters yourself. If you think I'm lying, and you should read those chapters yourself anyway, because to see for yourself. See for yourself that the scriptures is on point. Prophecy is on point. Get into the prophecies. Yeah, in Ezekiel chapters 25 to 32, God judges 7 nations surrounding Israel: Ammon, Moab, Edom, Philistine, Tyrus, Sidon, and Egypt. As representative of the surrounding Gentile world, condemning their arrogance and mistreatment of Israel through other nations, though other nations are briefly mentioned. In Ezekiel 25, we got some of those. First one mentioned is Ammon, then Moab, then Edom. Edom gets the harshest judgment. Philistine in Ezekiel chapters 26 to 28, it's Tyre and Zidon. Ezekiel 29 to 32, it's talking about Egypt. And modern day Egypt is America today. So it's that same chapter 2, it's referencing, it's twofold. And it's also, you can use some of those verses, particular verses, to compare synonymously with America today, modern day Egypt today, America. That's in Revelation 11. Spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. America is known to have the Pride Days and the gay flags, and Obama legalizing gay marriage and making it so normalized. That's us, spiritual Sodom and spiritual Egypt. Spiritual Egypt is Egypt synonymous with bondage, hardcore slavery upon the Israelites. That's what America did. And that's how, when you go into Obadiah, the eagle, who has a symbol as their eagle, America. Obadiah, around the first couple verses, between verse 1 and 5, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. So these are all prophecies. So you gotta know prophecy. You gotta know if you know the scriptures. You gotta know that the Lord has a controversy with every nation, even His own nation, because we went off and sinned against the Lord. But we're coming to that time where the Lord is gonna save us and have grace upon us. So take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. who's salvation for, and who it ain't salvation for. The Lord's going to come to save His people, to start with the one third out of all Israel. That includes the 144,000. That's specifically from each of the 12 tribes. Specifically $12 from each tribe, which constitutes the 144, the 100,000. Okay, because you can't just say everybody's agreed, everybody's one, and the Lord Jesus is gonna save everybody. That's fucking retarded and stupid. It's not the name. It's not the Bible. It's not in the scriptures. It's not the correct breath. You don't got the complete understanding. You don't have at all any understanding. Because you fake ass Christians, you're not speaking about World War III and how it's soon approaching. So you obviously don't have the scriptures. This is Jeremiah 22. Straight to 22, okay. The prophets that have been... So like it's Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and the evil and the pestilence. Come. And that's why you gotta have faith to know these things, man. You gotta have faith to know that the Lord's only gonna come to save His people. You gotta have, and not all His people, because most of our people are degenerates and they're retarded and they deserve to die. They don't deserve to live. As simple as that. Most of our people, they don't deserve to live. Yahushua ain't gonna come to save them because they don't believe in His name. If anything, they rejected His name, they despised His name, and they hate His men. They hate His prophets. You got the simple black bitch, the simple Issacharite bitch that has that westernized woman worship, false Christianity, plantation Christianity belief that's stuck in their minds that the Lord is going to destroy them for. He has put in their mind as well, and is going to destroy them for. So even AI knows that when you go into Obadiah. Obadiah future prophecy to come, AI overview. It says Obadiah prophecy points to future events centered on God's judgment of prideful nations like Edom and the ultimate restoration and reign of God's people, Israel, Zion. Yeah, didn't the Lord say, you only have I chosen all the families of the earth? Therefore I will punish you for your iniquities. And the Lord also says, so we're the most cursed nation. That's why we're saying we're gonna starting with the elect once again, fucking 2/3. They'll come back on the next side, reincarnated. So anyway, yeah, what does the Lord say? He says, I have chosen thee to be a special people as well, unto above all people. So we're gonna be above all people. And the 2/3 can't understand that. It's not given to them. Hence why you have scriptures like Isaiah prophesying a great prophecy of Israel being over their enemies. It says in Isaiah 14, those that oppressed you, they shall oppress those that oppress them. Revelation 13, 9-10, he that led Israel into captivity shall go into captivity, who led us into captivity, all nations It wasn't just Esau or Amalek. It was also China had a hand in it, though. They weren't. They didn't take it up a level like Esau did here in America, but they had a hand in it. Ishmael had a hand on that, and they're living out their blessing right now. That they're with the satanic Luciferians, elites, powers that be, showing you that they're not with Yahweh Shai. They're not with us, so they're against us. And the scriptures mention in the Old Testament that when Israel was to go into a land, they would destroy all the idols, all the practices and ways of the heathen. So if they're partaking in heathenistic ways, these nations that are in power right now, which it's prophecy that they're going to be in a heathen lifestyle, heathen laws, heathen culture, heathen hand joining hand with the wicked, they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be destroyed because Yahweh ain't going to want anything other than what his law states. They don't have laws pushing the laws like not eating pork. Vladimir Putin probably eats pork. He eats shrimp, crab, lobster. He doesn't push the true name Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua. He was just celebrating church in some Catholic ceremony for Christmas. So he's not with Israel. And ultimately, they are in league with the Rothschilds, the bankers, powerful banking families that are wicked and satanic, demonic, and psychopaths. So anyway, continuing reading this, and the ultimate restoration and reign of God's people during the coming day of the Lord, culminating in the establishment of his eternal kingdom, where the kingdom shall be the Lord's. While some of the destruction of Edom was historically fulfilled, the complete fulfillment involves a future judgment on all opposing nations and the final salvation and dominion of God's people on Mount Zion, signifying the coming of Mashiach and his rule. Yeah, well, matter of fact, let's go to Obadiah. So AI already agrees, even they agree that AI Overview agrees that Obadiah is a future prophecy still to be fulfilled. Just to back my point on how all you nations are going to be destroyed. The Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua, the true God, his true name Yahweh, right? His true name Yahweh. He's not going to want anything other than his people, particularly those he specifically elected, the elected of the nation of Israel, which is not all Israel right now. It's only a select few that's walking in faith to hopefully become and see that they will be lifted up. Yahweh ain't gonna want anything other than them to be on the top. There's not gonna be a second superpower, world power. Like today, you got China, Russia, U.S. In the future kingdom, the only nation that's gonna be up there is gonna be the nation of Israel. It's Obadiah verse. This proves it right here. 15. For the day of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua is near upon all the heathen. As that was done, it shall be done unto thee. This proves that they all had a hand in destroying us. That's why in Psalm 83, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Go read that whole chapter yourself if you haven't read it yourself. I've read it plenty of times. For the day the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As that was done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, meaning how they're living in luxury right now. Recently saw a video of how these Ishmaelites keep these expensive ass banquets, feasts, and they have camels in there, and they're just in their garments, and their traditional garments, Arab type garments, and just eating that food up, getting fat, enjoying their riches, enjoying their kingdom, their paradise, their paradisio. Ain't no Israelite there. Ain't no Israelite in the WF meetings. Ain't no Israelite ruling or nothing like that. We already saw how the Latin Kingdom got taken down. Not talking about the Latin Kingdom, talking about Northern Kingdom. We just saw Northern Kingdom. We just got taken down. Venezuela, Maduro, Cuba's next. Colombia's next. Mexico next. Y'all have no power. Issachar got no power. They ain't got nothing. That reward shall look at Haiti. Look at Puerto Rico. Poor ass countries. Majority of those Israelites living there, the natives in those, the native Latinos living there, they're poor. They're not living off the riches that those they should be able to have if they were sovereign of all the resources they have there. That's why it says, as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heat and drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Yeah, they shall be as though they had not been. What does that mean? That means they're not going to rise up. But upon Mount Zion is strictly right there. Mount Zion is going to be by bloodline once again. Jeremiah 3:17 in the GNT. When that time comes, Jerusalem will be called the throne of the Lord, and all nations will gather there to worship me. They will no longer do what their stubborn and evil hearts tell them. Yeah, and that hasn't happened yet. That's a future prophecy. Isaiah 60:10. And the NIV. Foreigners will rebuild your walls, and their kings will serve you. Though in anger I struck you, in favor I will show you compassion. Day and night your gates will be open, so that the kings of the nations may bring you their wealth. That's not happening right now. Because the Lord is angry with us right now. He hates us right now. He's judging us right now. 12, but nations that do not serve you will be completely destroyed. Yeah, and you can't imagine an Edomite just willingly wanting to bow to a black man, to Yahushua. We know Yahushua is black. You would call black. You can't see the majority of Edomites wanting to do that willfully right now. Not even the Chinese or Ishmaelite man doing that right now. So it just shows you we're not in our kingdom. That's going into the new covenant, when that will happen. And obviously it's not. Obviously they're not going to want to do that easily when it begins, when it first start, when Yahushua's first day here begins. It's going to be so we're going to have to whoop their ass to get in line. So that's why when you get into Revelation 13, it's not that he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword shall be killed with the sword. That's not going to be it's not going to be a non-violent transition. It's not going to be a friendly, oh, look at Esau, he's our friend, he's going to get it. We're just not going to have to whip him. He's going to get it. He's going to fall in line. We don't have to whip him. We don't have to do that. No, it's going to be a violent transition. It's going to be a violent judgment. So the Lord says to do double unto them as they have done unto thee. According to his anger, not our anger. According to his anger, the Lord's anger is more fierce than our own anger, than any man's anger, than you stupid niggas' anger that can't get this, because y'all hate yourself, and you just love your enemy, basically. It's as simple as that. You just love Esau. You love Esau. You hate yourself. You don't want to imagine your people on a higher position than your enemies. That's all it is. Well, anyway, it says in 17, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And they shall... Yeah, I'll jump to 19. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. Come on. So that's what's gonna come. I want to get this also to back me up on that. At Genesis 22:18, it says here, it's the Lord speaking to Abraham after he was about to sacrifice his only son and prove his faith to the Lord. This was the Lord sending an angel to bless him with this message, and it says for him being willing to sacrifice, him proving that he was going to be willing to sacrifice his only son, that he got at a very old age. So it was that sacrifice was treasured very much, because how many men are going to sacrifice their only son that they finally got at an old age, at 90 or at 100 years old, the son that they love, with this woman that they loved so much that they finally got to get pregnant. Now got pregnant. Now you're going to sacrifice him. Okay, so for that sacrifice, which represented faith, it's really just in a nutshell represents the nation of Israel as a whole, and what we should represent and carry ourselves with. This is Genesis 22:18. And through your offspring, once again, key word, offspring. That's your seed. Your sperma in Latin means sperma means seed. Sperm also, yes, sperma, which meant seed in Latin. Sperma goes into sperm. All nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. There it is. When you jumped up to verse 17, I will surely bless you and make your descendants. Let's look up the word descendants here. And this is such a basic topic. This is something that's, what else is new to me about type of topic. But this is for someone that may not get it, that may need it. Here, this descendant here means successor. A person, plant, or animal that is descended from a particular ancestor. Yeah, so your son, your offspring, your lineage. Similar words, synonym to that.
Lineage.
Lineage. Lineal descends from an ancestry or pedigree. Yeah. Your line. So yeah, the descendants is numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand of the seashore. Your descendants, once again, your children, will take possession of the cities of their enemies. So there it is, right there in the beginning. And then you go into Zechariah, or I think it's Malachi 3:6. I, the Lord, change not. The Lord has not changed his mind. Deuteronomy 4:19. It's Deuteronomy 4 and verse 19. Well, the point has been made. I'm going to close out going back to the main topic, World War III. And so that's basically why World War III is going to happen, so that the Lord can bring in the new covenant, his new covenant, which is Mount Zion. Mount Zion meaning monument, not the old covenant, which represents Mount Sinai, or Mount Horeb, which means a desert, dry desert, thorny, and also desolation. It's what the old covenant represented, because we couldn't keep the new covenant. We constantly were those dry bones, and when it came to following the laws, we were like dry bones and thorns on our side. Law was like thorns on our sides to us, because we just couldn't keep it. And this week, Flesh Paul talks about it better than I could in the letters of the New Testament. Constantly mentions the new covenant. He even says, yeah, the Sinai represented the old covenant. To us, we're still kind of in now, and we're kind of in the new covenant as well, through Yahushua, but not fully yet. So this is Obadiah going back to World War III and why that's going to come to pass, because that has to come to pass before we enter the new covenant. Obadiah verse Starburst 5. If thieves came to you, if robbers but in the night, oh, what a disaster awaits you. Would they not steal as much as they would have wanted? If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? But how Esau will be ransacked, his hidden treasures pillaged. Yeah, through World War 3, and then ultimately when Yahweh Shai comes as well. 7. All your allies will force you to the border. It's going to be this third woe. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. That's going to be NATO and Russia, Iran. It's turning against them. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. It's going to be all those 200 million missiles. 8. In that day declares the Lord. Someone may say, oh, how is that going to be 200 million? Well, if there ain't a specific 200 million missiles, the angels can multiply those missiles so they can be 200 million missiles. Just like Yahweh Shai multiplied the fish, he can come back to multiply the missiles. And that day declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau? And that's exactly what the Lord is doing. Read verse 7 again real quick. Listen to this one real quick. Meditate on this. All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive you and overpower you. And that's what we see America's in the process of becoming the victim to. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it in that day. That's what the Lord is doing even now. Declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau? Ashawa means he is wasted away. Edom means red. You do the math. Edom hated his brother Jacob. What are the two main races that always seem like they're in a fight with each other? The two main races, is it the Indian man against the Mexican man? Is it the Russian man against the German man? Give you more options. Is it the Hawaiian man against the American man? Or is it the white man against the black man? One is Jacob, one is Esau. You can do the rest of the math there. Shalom and a blah blah blah.